Hello to myself and everybody else. This is video 82. So far today, we're just continuing to look at C++ stuff that I've been learning. And so far, I recently just got into a part of the video where they were talking about for loops and do while loops. And so far, again, I've seen them before. I just really never knew how to use them or what they really were. Because really, nobody's ever taught me that much about it. Really, they just show me and just say use it, but still. Basically this, I'm just gonna look at this and we can just see what's up with it. So basically the main thing I know with a for loop is just, this right where for, put parentheses and then put the brackets. And basically from here we just do it so it's like int I equals 0. Basically this is just how it's gonna start off. So I will equal 0, and this is basically just the starting point of how many times this will run. Then we just put I greater than 10, or I less than 10, sorry. Basically, this right here is just going to show I starts at 0, which is this same I right here. And this code is going to keep running until I is basically no longer less than 10. So once I reaches 10, it will stop. And then from here, we just put plus plus I, or you can also put I plus plus, whichever one you want. And basically this will mean after the code runs, it will add 1 to I, and it will just keep doing that until again it's no longer less than 10. So what we'll do in this is let's just put something so it just counts a number so we can see it increasing with I. So we'll just put C out and just say this is line number, and then from there we'll just put I, so we just see what the number is, and L space here. And so we're just going to run it. Yep, we see right here. So I can bring this up. Right here, we can just see again, it printed out with a for loop. So every line, it print out this line number, and then I. So it start off at 0, then went up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 9. Because with this, 0 to 9 is 10, because it always starts off with 0 and stuff first. So basically, if I wanted to go to 10, I would have set this up to 11 and then run it. It can take a second. Yeah, you can see from here it goes from 0 to 10, which technically is 0 to 11, but the whole thing with that. But yeah, this is really the whole thing with the for loop. Something else with the for loop is that the value of I right here you cannot use outside of this loop. So basically if I put, let's say, C out, the value of I is, and then I just, put I and L. Then I also put a C out, so there'd be a space there. If I try using it here like this, we'll get an error whenever it loads, because it can take some time. Yep. So right here we get an error basically saying I is not declared in this scope. So line 12, this right here, it doesn't know what I is because it hasn't been declared. I only works inside of the for statement. So basically anything between the brackets and stuff here, it will be able to use I. The thing I just learned from the video is that I can basically change that by doing something like, let's say, int j equals 0. And then here, well, I put a semicolon. So from here, if I just put j, and then change all the i's to j's, change this one as well, and this one here too. Alright, so far I did that and everything too. Because like I said, since j is declared up here, I don't have to put the int and j and all that here. It's all right here. And basically with this, I'll put this back down to 10. So from here again, the value is j. We can see up here, j, as long as it's less than 10, it'll keep running. And then just keep adding 1 to j. This line number is j. Just think like that so we can just print it and see. So it should be able to run this line of code right here. Yeah, so you can see again 0 to 9. The value of j is 10. So basically just showed how that works. Another thing you can do as well, which the video kind of recommended doing, but again, just it depends on from person to person, is basically if I wanted to, I could just say like int value equals, and then just say like 10. So basically this number right here, this 10, I don't have to keep editing it. So like, let's say something goes down and it's like we need to have this thing run like, let's say 20 times. Instead of having to go into here and change it to 20, we can just change it right here. I guess this really works if you have multiple for loops, but again, right now with me only using one, you really can just put it here. We'll just run it to make sure it works. So it'll probably take a little bit because again, like 20 lines. But yeah, so far it's 0 all the way 19. The value of j is 20. And yeah, so far that's the whole thing and stuff there with that. Basically just showing how you can use a for loop in different ways and how you can like manipulate the variables outside of it as well. So far the next thing I'll end up looking at is a do while loop. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So far with a do while loop, it's basically another loop. So what we'll do is this, say do, and then under it we'll just say while. Basically with this, we can just, you know, let's just have it spaced out a bit more so you can just kind of like see everything. So far with this, it kind of works to basically still a loop. What you have to do is just declare the variables outside of it. So let's say int, and we'll just say count equals, let's say 10. And this will be how many times the loop runs. Do another one, so say int j equals 0. So just say this is the start of the loop. Just something like that. So this is the start of the loop, and this is how many times the loop will run. And then from here, basically, we can just do it backwards a bit. We can just say like do the while first. So basically saying while j is less than count. So far, we're just basically the same thing stuff before. So just see out and just say this. Yeah, just capitalize it. This is line number. And then from there, just put J and L. And the other important thing too is at the bottom of this, you have to put the J++, or you can say ++ J, whichever one you want. And so we'll just run it so we can just see how it looks. Yep, right here. So I did the same thing. This is line number 0, 1 through 9. Base just said that. So far again with this, if I wanted to, I can also just do the same thing of see out and say the value of J is, and then just put the same thing. So J and L. Let's also put a space here too, so you can just like see the difference of it. So again, just run it again. So it just takes a little second to compile. Yep. So again, the value of J is 10. Runs that. So you can see the value of it outside and everything as well. You can manipulate it pretty easy. A thing with the do while loop is that again, the do part will run first. Then it will check the condition and see if it should keep going. So basically, just kind of show this. If I set J to 11, so basically again, J will be greater than count, which is 10. So that means in reality it shouldn't run, but because do is front, it will just immediately say the line number is 11, value J is 12, because it basically added the plus because it ran the do part first. Then it checked to see, okay, this should not go again. So that's what happened. Basically, the difference between a do while loop and a for loop is that, again, like I can just kind of show it real quick. Let me just go ahead and just type it here real fast. So basically, I can say for, and then just this. Oh, that's not correct. So we just kind of do the same thing. So we just say int I equals, let's say, yeah, you know, just set it up basically. So 0, I less than 10 plus I, and then just say this is say this is for loop line number I and L. So we just have this and everything as well. So let's make this 11. So basically, again, if I is greater than 11, it shouldn't run. Let me also just comment this out. So basically just space. So I can just run it real quick. Yeah, so basically just says, again, the line number is 11. So, well, okay, let me do this real quick. So we just make sure we tell the difference real quick. This is do while line number. And we'll just set this to, let's say, 9. Alright, so now we'll run both real quick. Yeah, so this is do while line number 11. This is for loop line number 9. Again, right under that. So we're going to set this to 11. Or, we can set it to 10. Why not? And just run it again. And right here, you can see that the do while loop still ran. And then the for loop didn't because the conditions weren't met. So that's the main difference between the do while loop and the for loop. The do while loop will run this part of code no matter what first, then check the conditions. The for loop will check the conditions and then decide should it run or not. So those two major differences. Again, both of them can be really useful. It'll probably just be a while before I can figure out when exactly to use each, or what scenario will I need them and stuff. But beyond that though, again, pretty interesting things to learn. I really am glad that these videos that I'm working with is teaching me something. So at the very least, I'm just really glad about that. But yeah, that's really mostly it. Just talking about the for loop and the do while loop. So to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.